So ROCCAT is just going absolutely nuts lately. Today in house we have two new keyboards from them, the Magma and the Pyro. Both of these are full-size keyboards with price tags under $100, and they are aimed at very, very, very different groups of people. The Magma is the cheaper of the two, coming in at $59.99, while the Pyro is the more premium of the two, coming in at $99.99. Both boards have an all plastic casing, rounded edges, and the rigidness is going to be okay on the Magma and solid on the Pyro. This is partly due to the Magma's all plastic semi-translucent top plate that was designed to allow RGB lighting to softly diffuse through. While it looks great, it doesn't really help solidify the board's frame. The Pyro, on the other hand, has an all metal top plate that provides a bit more rigidness to the frame. Its top plate also has a nice gunmetal finish, which looks absolutely stunning, but you do lose that nice RGB diffusion here. Branding is located right above the arrow keys for both boards, and in the top right corner of the keyboard, you'll find your lock indicators as well as a volume knob on the Pyro. Both boards have a 1.8 non-removable rubber USB cable at the rear, and I would have loved to see their Phantom Flex cabling here since it's non-replaceable, especially on the more expensive Pyro. On the bottom, we have two slots towards the front for attaching the included wrist rests, as well as 6 rubber feet, 2 in which can kick out to increase the keyboard's incline. These feet do a good job at keeping the board nice and still, and I had no issues with the legs accidentally collapsing. The keycaps here are double shot ABS and feel really nice to type on. Of course, since they are ABS, you should expect to shine on them over time. The font is clear and the RGB shines through decently on the Magma with a bit of lack of fill on the upper keys. This is not an issue on the Pyro, and they are fully lit with no unevenness to be found. Underneath the keycaps, we find rubber dome switches on the Magma and TTC's linear switches on the Pyro. I haven't used rubber switches in a long time, and after testing these ones out, I can say they actually feel pretty good. Of course, they aren't going to be for everyone, but for people who like the sound profile, I can understand the appeal. As for the linears, they feel good overall. They do have a slight ping if you're really paying attention. But other than that, I only really have one thing to complain about. Why not just use your own Titan mechanical switches here? They feel smoother, and I like them a lot better than the TCCs. I get it's probably a cost-cutting measure here for ROCCAT, but for me, at $100, I think they should be in this board at that $100 price point. As for the stabilizers, they also feel pretty solid on this board, and I didn't have any issues here either. Software-wise, we are working with the ROCCAT Swarm software. This is the same suite for all of ROCCAT's peripherals, and with both of these boards, you can do a bit of customizing. You can increase and decrease key repeat rate, the delay between when the keys will actually repeat, customize basically any key on the board, and you can also save your profile to the keyboard's onboard memory and then close out of the program if you want to go down that road. I did find saving my profiles to these boards to be a little bit buggy whenever my PC went to sleep and then I woke it back up. Sometimes the RGB wouldn't turn on, but for the most part, it worked perfectly fine. The RGB on the Magma is going to be broken up into 5 different zones, and so you can't change individual key colors, but you can customize each zone to your liking. The lighting is also not as bright as the Pyros, and the color also has a slight greenish hue to it when the LEDs are set to white. On the Pyro, the RGB is fully customizable per key, and the lighting looks absolutely stunning. I have no complaints here, and the keys are all nice and bright as well. Performance is also solid on both boards, and they are both very responsive. The switches on both boards do feel a little bit slower than the TKL Pro's Titan optical switches that I'm used to, but honestly, after a short acclimation, it wasn't that big of a deal. And so this is definitely a tough one for me. I like both boards, but there's a lot of variables here. I can see the appeal of the cheaper Magma for 2 groups of people: those who like the sound profile of a membrane board, and then those who really like the RGB goodness that this provides. Luckily, this board also provides some solid performance, and so as long as you aren't dead set on having mechanical or optical switches, it's an understandable buy for me. As for the Pyro, this one is a little bit harder to sell on me. It has great performance and looks solid, so if that's all you care about, then yeah, go ahead, you can go pick this up, but there's more to that story. There's a lot of competition at this $100 price point, and there's a lot of unique options out there in this group. You can get a board with hot swappable switches. There's tons of great 60%, 65%, and 10 keyless boards. And honestly, it's just a very saturated price point. So while the Pyro is a solid board, it just doesn't like wow me to the point that I'm like, yes, 100% you should go out there and buy this board. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. Let me know what you guys think of these boards down in the comments below, and I'll see you guys in the next one.